Hey, how's it going, guys? Ancient Ruin here, back with another Wonderlands build video, and today I will be going over Dreadwinner. This is an alchemical agent focused Dreadwind build using Frost-Shivver, which is a bit different than my Blood of the Fallen version Spin to Win, but it's also a lot stronger. Dreadwind does a set 4 swings per second and gets the base damage of your melee weapon, making high base damage weapons ideal. Dreadwind has an insane damage formula of getting melee damage, ability damage, area damage, and the usual global and conditional damage. It also counts as melee damage, so it gets your melee crit chance instead of your ability crit chance, which is huge because that means that it gets our melee weapon crit chance. Then with Alchemical Agent, it takes your global and conditional bonuses again with your status effect damage to do even more damage. A huge amount of different damage sources. The save file for this build will be in my Discord link down below. You can also find my Twitch where I stream Wonderlands and other games often. And if you like this build, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't. And I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, and for the gear here, we want to use a Spriggan or Kobold with a 20% melee blade. This is the best item to hold while in Dreadwind, as this just gives us a big damage boost and we don't have to do anything. It also allows us to stay at low ammo for shell casing rings, which is really nice. I use action skill start here as it's mainly what we use for Dreadwind and don't really hold anything else. You can also use spellcast melee, it does fine, and the all damage stuff. Then we have the live wire, which can be used outside of Dreadwind, but not really needed. I like using spellcast melee on this just because we're not activating our action skill while holding this. This can be also used on low ammo for shell casing rings, which is just a benefit from it. Then we have a Stab-O-Matic. This is really nice for ranged enemies, and the ideal enchant is definitely spellcast melee, but I haven't really changed it because I haven't really needed to. And then we use a Tooth Raider. This is for the melee crossbolts for bossing. It's a pure mult to our damage, and it's just a good tool for applying Executioner's Blade, which is definitely needed sometimes. This item has fixed parts, and Chaos tier doesn't really matter on this, making this a pretty easy farm. It is also a quest reward, so you can keep that in mind. You could also throw some guns with wings. I think I have some somewhere, probably down here. Yeah, stuff like this. It could just be really good for applying Icebreaker and melee bolts. You definitely want to use a Frost guns with wings with the melee bolts to help build Icebreaker more. You can just throw a few of those and swap to your melee blade gun and then go Dreadwind and you'll do great. We use Banshee as it has the highest base damage. Also, good purple Claymore Greatsword would also do really good as it has similar high stats to the Banshee. We use an Ancient Hilt here to get back Dreadwind faster. You can also use Vampire for survivability or Caustic or Warrior, but you do also have to stack those outside of Dreadwind, which makes them not as good. And just having Ancient Hilt's really, really nice. You want to use the Dreadwind enchant as it's a pure mult to Dreadwind, so it's just really, really good for those bosses and badasses. And then the element doesn't really matter too much unless you use Soaked, so I'm not using Soaked, and I really like to use Fire as it's a common health bar. And then the shield we use here is the Body Rune. I like using Capacity part as it's nice with unarmed defense to give more health than the health part would. We use Dreadwind move speed and damage enchant as it's really nice for this. We don't stay out as long as Spin to Win, but the move speed's still really good. And so is just the damage, because sometimes we stay out longer than others. Sometimes we stay out a second, sometimes we stay out 5 to 10. Just kind of depends on what we're doing. And then for the amulet, the main thing you want to focus on is getting Berserker power and good passives. Berserker power will boost Dreadwind damage, so this is very important. And then for the passives, you want either status effect damage or all damage. Definitely want to match your element to your melee weapon. You see here I have Fire, and then the legendary effects I like to look out for is Skeep, as it's great for survivability. You can also use Barb Load if you're using the guns with wings situation that I mentioned. Just a good combo there. It's really nice for Ghostblade, but This one I feel like you can kind of hit those enemies easier, so you don't really need the bar below tech as much. And then you can also get a third with better cooldown. Just need a spammable spell and you're pretty good. Also means you wouldn't have to take ancient. You still can for more spam, but you won't need it as much. And then the spell here we use is the Fortifying Sigil. It's great for protection and healing while in Dreadwind. Frost helps build up Icebreaker, which is really nice. Then you want to look for radius or cooldown parts. Spell cast, melee damage, or knockback enchant is ideal, as it only goes away before the duration ends on melee swing, so it stays the whole duration while you're Dreadwinding. A Frost Empowering Sigil can also be nice for auto-freezing enemies, and it sticks to you. It's also more spammable for thirds. For the armor, you want to look for anything good with Berserker power and good passives. There are a bunch of good Berserker armors in general. I like going Berserker Stabbo as it's nice for increased crit chance from the Stabbo power, and also gets Iron Skull in old ways. Iron Skull helps outside of Dreadwind damage just because it helps swing the slow Banshee a lot faster. Just makes it feel better. The passives you want to look out for are area damage, all damage, movement speed, melee damage, ability damage, melee crit chance, and max war capacity. A lot of passives, which makes this a little bit more easier. Here I have what I like to feel like for my build, the min-max type. It does change a little bit based on the build, but this is what I like to use. My go-to is Amnesia for this build, but other options that are good are Cape of Tides for Soaked, Amalgam just for stats. We have a bunch of good ones, and then Miastic Mail for the dot damage. And then I like to use Shell Casing Rings for this for the maximum bonus we can get, but any rings will work, legendary or purple. You want to go ability damage or melee damage. Based on my bonuses, ability damage is better for me here. Passives you want to look for are melee crit damage, melee crit chance, action skill duration, action skill cooldown, and spell radius. Alright, and for the skill tree here, of course, we have Dreadwind. And then we have a basic melee tree going down to Executioner's Blade. We go on Yielding for survivability, Savagery for melee damage, which is better than the frost damage. Old Ways, of course, Icebreaker, Pure Molt. This is conditional damage. It is additive with this enchant on here, but it doesn't really matter. We don't have much of it, makes it better. Unarmored defense, great survivability, same with Relentless Rage. And then some stuff you can move is Cold Snap. This gives us move speed and frost efficiency, which is great for Icebreaker and Amnesia. But if you need better survivability, you can go Blood Frenzy for better health return. You can also go Instinct for reload speed and swap speed. This is also good if you're using guns with wings, but that's like the main thing I have there. You could also put some points in Ancient Fury. I think you could put 2 points here if you wanted, but I don't really find it worth it to get 10% area damage. And then here we have pretty basic stuff. We go Swift Death. If you're using guns with wings, Nimble Fingers can also be kind of nice, but I go Swift Death here. Then we go Shadow Step here because we have slower swings, so getting that guaranteed crit is better. Elusive for survivability, Contagion to spread our dots, Alchemical Agent for the crazy dots, and then 1000 Cuts. Just kind of, these two are kind of just floater points. I could put one more point for Max Swift Death, but I'd rather go 1000 Cuts here as it's more consistent. And then we go Executioner's Blade. This is for enemies and bosses out of range for Dreadwind to hit, as it is, you can still jump, which makes it easier to hit enemies, but some are just too far away for you to hit, where Executioner's Blade comes in. And then for what I do, I like to go Max Wisdom and Constitution, and then the rest in Attunement. I don't go Strength because I like survivability and cooldown more. I could swap Constitution or Attunement for Strength if I wanted to. I also have crit damage here, so I don't need it as much. But if you don't have good amount of crit damage, then definitely go Strength. I'd probably take it out of Constitution or Attunement. Probably Attunement, as just having the survivability is really nice. Just test what you want, but you always want to have Wisdom Max. It's really good for Alchemical Agent and just dot stuff. And then I go Village 88 just because it's an all-rounder background. Gives us crit damage, which is really nice. I hope you guys enjoyed the build video. Dreadwind is super fun and strong, which made this a blast creating this build. The wide damage formula definitely helps make gearing a bit easier for this type of build compared to others. Again, the save file will be in my Discord link down below, and make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.